Hi, my name is Elias MOKOLE, and welcome to Developing Your Authentic Voice. I have been singing professionally and teaching privately in universities for over 20 years. And it occurs to me that some of the ideas I'd like to share with you in this presentation are things that I still think about every time I open my mouth to speak or to sing. I've learned so much from teaching because I have found that when one asks others to do something, it could be a reminder to do these things yourself, and indeed it is. This morning, for example, I sang through a French art song by Gabriel Fauré called En Prière that I used to warm up. While singing it, I think about many of the concepts and ideas that I'm sharing with others. Now, these ideas are not revolutionary, nor are they some kind of special secret. And I think that my job has been over a number of years to remind myself of these practices when I sing, and then to help others become aware of them when they use their own voice. There's a book I've read recently called The 46 Rules of Genius, and it's by Marty Neumeier. And one of the many things he covers in this is an idea that we can learn anything, but we can't learn everything. And the meaning of that statement, as I see it, is that you can know about all kinds of stuff, but you can't do it all at once. So you have to prioritize it in kind of a hierarchy of what to think about first and what to concentrate on first. The items I hope to share are like basic ingredients in a recipe. I think the overview of the recipe, if I'm going to continue with that analogy, is to think about what we do conceptually when we create sound with our voice. When I was in Philadelphia studying to be a working opera singer at the Academy of Vocal Arts, AVA, I was preparing my first Mozart role, the Count Almaviva in Le Nozze di Figaro, Marriage of Figaro. And one of the many things that the maestro taught me was to think about my voice as an instrument in the orchestra. The one Chris suggested was that I think about the cello. And I was taught by him to imagine that I was a cello using a bow to create sound. I applied that idea all throughout my career, but it wasn't until I became a teacher I thought it might be useful to think about what that means exactly. Now let's think about instruments, musical instruments, say in an orchestra or a rock band or in other types of musical groups. I'm going to use an orchestra, and typically orchestral instruments are divided into four groups. We have percussion, which are drums and cymbals and the like. We have trumpets and trombones and horns, and they're in the brass section. Clarinets, saxophones, oboes, bassoons are in the woodwind section, among other instruments. And then finally, viola, violin, cello, bass, guitar are the string section. Anything that primarily uses strings to make sound. And I started to wonder, how and why are these instruments categorized in this way, at least in my estimation? How do they produce sound in a basic sense? For example, strings produce sound in a specific way. An object makes contact with the strings and causes them to vibrate. In the case of a cello or a violin, it's a bow. With a guitar, it's a pick or your fingers. And then the sound resonates in a chamber, and voila. For brass, there's a mouthpiece, and we blow pressurized air through a tube, and the vibrations produced are amplified by a bell. Clarinets, saxophones, oboes, it's the same idea, except that there are reeds instead of a mouthpiece, which vibrates the sound. And for drums, you hit them, right? And that creates a vibration, And in the case of a timpani drum in an orchestra, there are even specific pitches produced. It's interesting, I think, to connect that to how we create sound with our instrument, our own individual voice. We make sound from birth, but we don't often have to think about what we do. We just do it. And I think it has great benefit from the get-go to think about how our voice relates to other types of instruments. So I want you to visualize something. See all 4 instrumental sections on a stage: brass, strings, percussion, woodwinds. And I'd like to leave you with a question. Based on how we produce sound with our voice, which section or sections could we sit in? And the next time I have a presentation, I'll tell you some of my ideas about this and how it might be helpful. Thank you so much for your time. And if you found this content engaging, please feel free to subscribe to the Rainbow channel and to view other items in the Developing Your Authentic Voice playlist. Thank you.